Peace, and welcome to another episode of the Quranic Remedies, where we spend about 15 minutes exploring a page from the Quran and seeing how we could apply the verses to our lives. And hopefully, with God's permission, it helps us heal our brain, body, mind, and soul. So today, we'll be reading from chapter 2, the cow, from verses 38 onwards till 48. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge to God from the accursed devil, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful. قلنا اهبطوا منها جميعا فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فمن اتبع هداي فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. We said, descend therefrom altogether, and when guidance comes to you from me, thus whoever will follow my guidance, there will be no fear upon them, nor will they grieve. والذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. As for those who disbelieve and deny our verses, those will be the companions of the fire, they will be therein eternally. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون. O children of Israel, remember my blessing which I have granted you and fulfill my agreement. I will fulfill your agreement, for I am, so fear me. وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما معكم ولا تكونوا أول كافر به ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا وإياي فاتقون. And believe in what I have sent down, confirming what is with you, and do not be the first to disbelieve in it, and do not trade my verses for a little price, for I am, so beware of me. ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون. And do not mix the truth with falsehood, and conceal the truth while you know. وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واركعوا مع الراكعين. And establish the litany and give the charity and bow down with those who bow down. أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تعقلون. Are you commanding the people to righteousness while forgetting yourselves and you recite the book? Will you then not reason? واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. And seek through patience and the litany, for indeed it is important only for the submissive. الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. Who presume that they will meet their Lord and they will return to him. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين. O children of Israel, remember my blessing which I have bestowed upon you and that I have favored you over all people. واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون. And beware of a day no soul will be rewarded by another soul at all, nor will intercession be accepted from it, nor will amendments be taken from it, nor will they be helped. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Truth was told by the Lord. Now, it starts by the summation of what happened with Adam, where God is saying to humanity and to the jinn that disbelieved in God to come down to earth, so that we're going to stay on earth for a limited time. Now, the cool part is God is giving you a remedy here. This is something that is going to heal your brain. It's going to heal a lot of the issues, anxieties that you go and deal with. Those who follow our verses, when they come to them, right, they will have no fear, nor will they have grievances. Did someone die? Someone that you love? You shouldn't be sad. You shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be upset. Why? Because you're going to see them again. Yes, it might seem like a big deal now, but it isn't. Because you always have to remember, as God said in the Quran, everything has an ajalun musamma. It has a decreed time. Everything is going to run out of time. It's going to die. It's going to break. It's going to become obsolete. It's not going to be here anymore, except for God and your relation with God. So always remembering that this is just a temporary place and a temporary life, and everything around you that you either get or is already existing is just temporary, then there is no need for you to be sad and upset when things don't happen your way. Now, the other thing is, I spoke a few verses or a few episodes ago about when God is answering through his world, through either examples, through animals, or the wind is guiding you, or you're getting an idea. If you truly believe that it's from your God, and you start to doubt it because it doesn't coincide with what you like to do, at that point you fall into a state of confusion. Well, should I go with it or not? Or hey, maybe God is like, maybe this is just a test to see that if I should go with what I would like to do. And then like, well, what happens if I actually listen to it? And then you start going through this confusion where you're worried about maybe you're missing out something that you either need to do, or you're missing out on something that is very beneficial for you. And this is the state of confusion, of doubt, that causes pain and sadness, where you start having anxiety and you get depressed because you haven't completely submitted that God is taking care of you. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are against what you think or what you would like to do because it's what's best for you. Yeah, a lot of you want to get married, but this is not the time for you to get married. Why? Because you're still not established. You still don't have a way to take care of a spouse. And I'm talking from the side of the men. While on the women, well, it's difficult for you to find a husband, I believe, nowadays because, well, I guess people are not following the verses of God. But this is why now we're finding this fear and sadness. The fear is we're unable to trust the people that we're meeting, right? Because they're not trusting God. And there's sadness because we're not fulfilling what we would like to do or what we were bestowed upon us to do. So as a collective and as an individual, this verses applies. And God is talking to us as a collective here. Whoever follows the verses of God or the signs of God or the proof of God that comes to you, then there is no grievance, nor are they sad. There's no grievances, nor are they scared. If you understand that someone in front of you is being unjust in the way he's treating somebody, and that person has the power to put you in jail, you should stand up and say you're being unjust. And you shouldn't be scared. Not scared of him, because you should be scared of only God. And you'll see that because you've witnessed that that person is not coinciding with what God has ordered us to be as human beings, just. I mean, like to treat each other with fairness and just, and you stand up for the truth, you will notice that whatever happens as a circumstance, you're still not scared because you know you stood up for the truth. And at the end, it will be extremely worth it, while it's going to be very detrimental for the other person because he decided to deny the verses of God. He decided to deny what God has bestowed upon the human and what he ordered for the human to do for us to have such an amazing world. So he's clearly a companion of hellfire in the example we did, but God is the one who's going to judge them, not us. Now, God then starts moving towards the children of Israel. There's this huge misconception that people think that the children of Israel are the Jews. That's completely incorrect. A child of Adam has no creed. Yes, they're born submissive. They're born with the religion of God, and then they choose to disbelieve and they choose to follow different millahs. It's the same thing with the children of Israel. Israel is a prophet. His seed is the children of Israel. They have a certain promise that came to God because of the promise that came down to Israel, Jacob. He was given a promise that his seed will inherit this world. Now, the only way you get part of this promise is by fulfilling the agreement. And the children of Israel are centrally located in the Levant, which would be Palestine, Lebanon, modern-day Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, parts of Iran. You can go up to Afghanistan, parts of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf, and then you have parts of North Africa, and of course the seed spread very much so. But the hotbed is that holy land that people are fighting over. Just because people believed in the Gentile prophet, the prophet that came from Ishmael, Prophet Muhammad, it does not change your blood, does not change your seed. You're still the children of Israel. So whatever we're reading and about what the children of Israel did or they do or their characteristics, good and bad, it's applying to a lot of these Arabs that we're dealing with day to day. Trust me, I know. I come from the region. So God says that they are people who order in righteousness, but yet they're not doing it. And it's true that you could see a lot of them telling you, oh, well, this is how good life is supposed to be, or you shouldn't lie and lying is bad for you, but yet they're liars. Or you should go pray and praying is very important for you, yet they don't pray. Because that mentality is on them. But those people, you'll find them as the lowest of the people. And the people who are really holding on to their religion and fulfilling the covenant of God, which is taking care of your parents, worshiping only one God, taking care of the poor, making this world a better place, talking nicely to people, taking care of whatever you can take care of. God makes you almost like a king in the world. Wherever you go, you're respected. Whatever you try to journey in, you find success in. God really flourishes you because you're upholding the agreement. So God fulfills his agreement, and you have to only fear God. Now, there is a concept here that is also very important about the children of Israel, is that they become very comfortable very quickly, despite somebody going and playing with their religion and playing with their doctrine or their creed. So they become a cult, and then they disbelieve with whatever happens after. This is evident with the Jews, with the Christians, and then the people who follow the Prophet. We can say the Sunnis and Shias. Whoever comes after whatever the Quran already showed, if anyone comes as with more proof from God to tell them like, hey, look, you guys are off course. They hate him. They kill him. They put him in jail. They call him a liar. They call him a cheater. They treat him exactly how the children of Israel treated their prophets, because they don't accept anything after what God has already revealed to them, which they got deluded out of. So they do this thing, which a lot of you also do, is you stop being honest. You try to like say a part of the truth, and then you take a falsehood and then you mix with it, and then you say it to people so that you don't get in trouble. Or you know what happened, but you conceal it. Hey, who broke the car? Well, I saw my neighbor do it, but I don't want to be involved in this. It's not well, but right now you are concealing a testimony from God. God allowed you to see that accident so that you were supposed to be part of the process of justice. But you chose not to do your part, so your neighbor never got his justice. Or whoever's cars got crashed, they never got your justice. God is putting you in places on purpose so that you could witness, so that you are part of the process. But if you choose to lie and change the truth and then conceal it, then you're in trouble. And it's exactly the same thing with religion. So when we come to somebody, if you're debating with somebody, don't ever try to switch the words after you've already witnessed what they told you is truth, just because they're the opposing side. If a Christian comes to me and he says, well, God loves the peacemakers. God said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God. I can't be like, oh, well, you're wrong because you said the word children. I won't agree with the children part, but he said truth, that the peacemakers are valued with God. Of course, they're not the children of God, but they are the people who are close to God, because they're doing the islah, they're doing the righteousness. But I can't sit there and say completely no to him just because I'm denying the truth that came down to him, because he's of an opposing faction, because they worship a different deity other than their own Lord. They put another Lord. And these are theology and talks that doesn't really benefit us in these episodes, but we're just taking examples. But at the same time, they have truth in them. The children of Israel, the Christians, the Jews, the Sunnis, the Shias, they have some elements of truth. And we have to find that common ground. Doesn't mean we need to be buddy-buddy with anybody, but we need to just stick with that common ground. So we can assist and help people as God is telling us, and God is telling us to help people by telling them to give charity and to pray, right? And for us to do it ourselves. So I know a lot of people ask me questions. Well, do you pray with a certain group of people? I have absolutely no problem praying with any monotheistic group of people, despite them having associations in their doctrine. Because when I'm prostrating to God. I'm not prostrating to their doctrine. When I'm talking to God, I'm talking to what I'm saying. I don't care what the person who's leading the prayer is saying. There's certain groups when I have a personal problem with them, where we did have a point of theology and the person expressed clear disbelief in his theology. At that point, I will stop praying with those individuals, but I will not cancel out the whole doctrine. So yeah, I do pray with Jews. I'll pray with Christians. I'll pray with Sunnis and Shias. But I'm saying what I want to God. And if I could lead the prayer, I would. I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, you can't pray behind. Why not? God is telling you, prostrate with those who prostrate. At the end of the day, there's only one Lord. They're prostrating to that Lord. If they're saying clear disbelief, then there's no point to bow down with them. That's happening with the Christian people and all the other polytheistic religions. But I won't prostrate in a church. But sometimes if a Christian person is saying a prayer, I will listen to it and I will join and I will add to it as well. Because at the end of the day, it's just one Lord that we're serving. I'm going to get the benefit of whatever I'm praying to, and he's going to get the benefit and the harm of whatever he's saying. I'm free of him, as I will not be standing, as God says at the end in the verses, that I won't be his intercession. nor will I be able to save him, nor will he be able to pay for any of his crimes on the day of judgment. This is the place where we get to intercede is right now. An example of an intercession is smoking cigarettes is very bad for you. It's obviously something that a devil came up with, and he made it flourish in the land so that people would destroy their body, not be able to communicate with God, to sit there and have another vice. But quitting nicotine is something that is extremely difficult. So you could now, after quitting and repenting, and knowing how difficult it is to quit cigarettes, you could pray to God from your heart as an intercession for people who really try in the name of God but could not escape this vice because of how evil and dirty it is. So God, like, blessed is the God, exalted is he. God, I hope I have witnessed how difficult it is for someone to escape the vice of a nicotine. So God, please intercede on them on the day of judgment, because I've seen how difficult it is. And if you accepted it, it's only benefiting me and them. And if you don't, well, God, you are the great, the merciful, and praise to the Lord. This is a very quick example of what an intercession is. On the day of judgment, you can't do that, but you can do that here. So you should try to intercede for people while you're here. When you realize things that is going to cause pain for people on the day of judgment, try to talk to God and see if you can reach a way to either help them or help yourself. Now, God has favored many individuals in the world, and they have passed away. So that favor, when God has favored them over all of mankind, that was for their time. But when God is saying that I have favored the children of Israel is still around. Yes, that there is a huge favor on the children of Israel that is comparative to all the other seeds that are running on the world. And anyone who prays to God and he gets close to God, yeah, that's something that's beneficial for them. But when it comes down to understanding the religion and getting support from God, the child of Israel has more of a favor. And again, as I told you, it's not just the children of Israel. Many of you, in fact, are that child, that seed, that child of Israel seed. But you're not doing your part. And you'll see as we carry on with the verses, a lot of the things that they do negatively, you're doing it, but maybe not to the highest example. A lot of you twist the words out of their context after something has been said. You conceal the truth as something that's done. Now, I know, and this is the point where I want to end at, is the issue with ritual prayers. Now, I know a lot of people that watch my channel, they like to think as the salat is something that does not include a ritual side of things. And you are mistaken. So iqamat as-salah is something physical right now. Yes, salah as a concept is connecting to God. And that is something that you need to do frequently during the day. You don't need to go through a ritual process to connect to God. And some people are connected to God almost all the time because they're constantly thinking and reminding themselves of God. Sometimes their work might distract them. Sometimes talking to people might distract them. But as soon as that distraction is done, they go back to just remembering God. But what the problem is, the people who are denying the ritual are denying a concept of a way of remembering God in a form where it is very one-to-one. So reading the Quran and sitting on a corner, you are not in the same sense as you standing up and going through a certain set time, showing discipline and loyalty, and then reading the verses while you are standing up and prostrating to God. Because that ritual process gives you a form of remembrance that is not the same as just us talking about God right now. Because you can sit and truthfully be able to close off everything else. And you start pushing yourself more and more in these ritual prayers. There's 3 times, which we will cover as we go into the Quran, which is the morning before sunrise, after sunset, or during sunset and after sunset, and then portions of the night. And the more you push yourself in the prayer, you'll see how you get rewarded more on earth. Because it's very difficult for you in your distraction to do something that is, like, hey, in about an hour, I'm going to have to go stand and face my God. I shouldn't do that action, because in your prayer, when you're standing and you're thinking about God, you're thinking about the action that you just did. You might think like you can hide from people, but you're not hiding from God, and you know that in your head. So that prayer, that physical prayer, it really does help you stop with the obscenities and evilness. And reading the Quran and just having group talks or just, that's not the same thing. That's just you pondering and reflecting and making a connection with God. But it's not the same as the physical connection. Because yes, the actions of prostrating and being on your knees and standing up while completely focused on God, there's absolutely nothing that can compare on earth doing that. I'm telling you from experience. I've tried both ways. As the people who say there's no wrong ritual, it just, when you go into a ritualistic process of worshiping your God, you get a form of discipline which is unmatched. It's impossible for any system in the world to match that process, because everyone else who's doing things, for example, going to the gym or going to the work or going to the thing, they're in their mind, when things are going tough, they go for the reward. So, I gotta push myself because I'll get bigger muscles. No, I gotta finish this extra hour from work so I can get paid or I get promotion, or I gotta study that extra hour so I can pass my grade with an extra mark. But when you come down to the prayer, the only benefit is the fact that you are able to show patience. You're able to stand there. You're being almost in a sense of a soldier to God. So that process which you guys eliminate when you say there's no ritual process, well, then you're missing out on a big portion of something that does heal you, that does keep you grounded, that shows humility to a point where there's no other. Me and a certain group of friends, when we just remember a verse and we say to each other, we prostrate right then and there in front of everybody. And people will look at us like, even Muslims, like, or Sunnis and Shias will look at us, people will look at us like, what are these people doing? We're prostrating. Is there a problem that we just literally prostrated to our Lord right here and there? But because we do that, we sense more of God's love in our life. We sense more of God's blessings and support, and we are reminded of more verses that way. So I understand this might give a lot of people some food for thought, and some people might think that this is just all nonsense, because you are falling into a verse here where it wasn't, I don't believe Shuaiba translated it right, but it's this one here. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ, and seek help through patience and the litany or the prayer, for indeed it is difficult. إِنَّهَا كَبِيرَةٌ, it is difficult, except على الخاشعين, except for those who are submissive. If you're having problems fulfilling the prayer, the physical prayer, it's because you truly don't fear God. That you're not that submissive to God. You might have some submission, some fear, but you don't think on the day, you think on the day of judgment, he's just going to give you a pass and you're going to feel free. There is no justice for you because you're going to get a pass no matter what. Yes, that is some harsh words, but you have to consider it. God said it is big, it is hard, it is difficult, the physical prayer and patience, except for those who are submissive. When's the last time you woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you said, you know what, I'm just going to stand up for 5 minutes and thank my God, read a few verses, prostrate and go back to sleep? That is not an easy task, especially when you're tired. But when you wake up and you have that little fear, like, you know what, I want to respect my God. I want to just, like, God's seen I woke up. Let me just spend 5 minutes saying thank you, I love you, prostrate for a little bit and go back to sleep. You don't think that's rewarded? You don't think that's accepted? You don't think that makes a person a little bit better than a person who does it? Well, of course, they're not equal. I hope you guys consider the physical rituals and not sit there and talk about what's the whole process of the rituals, other than taking the time and spending the time, standing up, prostrating, and talking to God, reading the verses and pondering upon them in that sense, in that zone. So with that said, peace be upon you, and we'll see you again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.